Alright, so here it is. America's Muscle War. Dodge Charger 6-pack versus Ford Mustang Dark Horse versus Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye. 3 American muscle cars. 1 freezing cold strip of tarmac. And a question that's been burning in petrolhead circles for years. Which one of these beasts actually wins when it counts? Not on paper, not in a showroom argument, but here, right now, wheel to wheel. A brand new all-wheel drive Dodge Charger taking on Ford's most vicious, naturally aspirated Mustang. And just to make things truly chaotic, a supercharged Hellcat Redeye with 797 horsepower thrown into the mix like a grenade with the pin pulled. This is American muscle at its most raw, most ridiculous, and most glorious. Welcome to Luxury and Scale. Let the war begin. There's something about American muscle cars that no European sports car has ever fully replicated. It's not just the power, it's the theater, the drama, the feeling that at any moment, something could go spectacularly, wonderfully wrong. And today, 3 of the most iconic names in that tradition line up together. The Dodge Charger 6-pack, the new generation, the controversial one, the one everyone has an opinion about. It's not perfect, far from it. But it brings something its predecessors never had, all-wheel drive. And on a cold Canadian winter's day on an unprepped surface, that matters more than almost anything else. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse, naturally aspirated. No turbo, no hybrid assistance, just a high-revving 500 horsepower V8 that screams to the red line and delivers its power with the kind of honesty that's becoming increasingly rare in the modern automotive world. And then there's the Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye, the old guard, the legend. A supercharged 6.2-liter V8 pushing 797 horsepower exclusively to the rear wheels because someone in Detroit decided that was perfectly reasonable. This car is not from the future. It's from a glorious, terrifying past, and it is absolutely here to remind everyone what muscle cars used to feel like. 3 cars, 3 philosophies. 1 cold strip of asphalt. Somebody's getting embarrassed today. Before any wheel turns, these 3 cars need to be appreciated for what they are visually. Because in the world of American muscle, presence is everything. The Dodge Charger 6-pack is polarizing by design. The new generation Charger broke away from convention, and the automotive world is still arguing about it. The body is wide, angular, and aggressive. Low-slung with muscular haunches and sharp creases that cut through the bodywork with intent. The front end is bold and confrontational, with lighting that feels modern and almost menacing in the right light. It's a big car. It carries itself like it knows it. And whether you love it or hate the styling direction, you cannot ignore it standing still. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse is the Mustang distilled to its absolute essence. Dark trim, darker wheels, and a focused, predatory stance that communicates exactly what this car is about before a single cylinder fires. The Dark Horse package is deliberately aggressive. Less chrome, more carbon, more intent. It sits lower than the standard Mustang. The proportions are classic pony car, long hood, short rear deck, but modernized with sharp LED lighting and aerodynamic refinements that give it a contemporary edge without losing its soul. The Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye is from another era, and it makes absolutely no apology for that. Wide, heavy, imposing. The Challenger's body is a love letter to the 1970s muscle car era, stretched and modernized but unmistakably connected to its heritage. The Hellcat badge, the wide body arches, the aggressive hood with its massive air intake. This car looks exactly like what it is. A supercharged weapon that was built before modern sensibilities softened everything. There's a rawness to it that the newer cars, for all their sophistication, cannot fully replicate. Lined up together, they look like a family reunion where the relatives don't entirely get along. And that tension makes everything more interesting. Step inside the new Dodge Charger and, honestly, the immediate impression is one of significant progress. The interior is a genuine leap forward from the old generation. We're talking premium materials, a modern infotainment system, improved build quality, and just an overall sense that Dodge finally invested in making the inside of this car match the ambition of the outside. It really feels contemporary, well-considered, and far more refined than anything the Charger name has historically been associated with. Is it perfect? No. But as an improvement over what came before, it's substantial. Now, the Ford Mustang Dark Horse cabin is built around the driver. The Dark Horse package brings additional performance-focused interior elements, like sport seats with enhanced bolstering, a driver-centric layout, and the kind of steering wheel and instrument cluster that just makes you want to push harder. The technology is comprehensive without being overwhelming, and Ford has managed to modernize the Mustang interior without stripping out the character that makes it feel special. Sitting behind the wheel, there's this direct, uncomplicated feeling. Like the car is saying you don't need much, just the road and the engine. And then the Hellcat Redeye. Well, the interior tells you everything about when this car was conceived. It's more Las Vegas than luxury. Bold, brash, and unapologetically theatrical. The switchgear has a certain vintage charm. The seats are comfortable in a grand tourer kind of way. And everything about the cabin just communicates that this car was designed by people who believed that 797 supercharged horsepower was a completely sensible specification for a road car. There's character in every surface. It won't win a materials quality contest, but, you know, it has a personality that the newer cars are still working to match. Now, the part that everyone came for. The Dodge Charger 6-pack brings a modern, all-wheel drive powertrain to the muscle car formula. The system distributes power to all four wheels with precision and on a cold, unprepped surface. Exactly the kind of surface where rear-wheel drive muscle cars have traditionally embarrassed themselves. That advantage is enormous. The all-wheel drive system essentially neutralizes the traction deficit that has plagued high-powered American cars since the beginning of time. Launch control does the rest. The result is a car that gets off the line with a composure and efficiency that the other two simply cannot match in these conditions. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse answers with 500 naturally aspirated horsepower. And that word really matters. No turbo lag, no boost curve to manage. Just linear, honest, rev-dependent power that builds as the revs climb and rewards commitment. In a world increasingly dominated by turbocharged and electrified powertrains, there's something almost radical about a 500 horsepower V8 that breathes freely. The Dark Horse sounds extraordinary. A high-revving soundtrack that rises through the gears with genuine drama. It hooks up cleanly, pulls hard, and in terms of power-to-weight ratio, it has a genuine argument against both of its rivals. And then there's the Challenger Hellcat Redeye. 797 supercharged horsepower, to the rear wheels only, on a surface that's just above freezing, in Canada, in winter. This is where things get biblical. The moment full throttle is applied, the rear tires simply cease to function as traction devices and become smoke generators. The supercharger howl fills the cabin, the rear steps out, and the Redeye essentially tries to spin itself sideways at every opportunity. It is terrifying, exhilarating, and deeply, fundamentally unreasonable. And it is absolutely magnificent. In the standing quarter mile with all-wheel drive engaged on the Charger, the result is clear. The Charger launches with precision, hooks up instantly, and pulls away cleanly. The Mustang Dark Horse puts up a genuine fight. Natural traction from its more modest power figure and balanced weight distribution keep it close. The Hellcat Redeye lights up its rear tires, spins furiously, and ultimately the physics of 800 horsepower trying to reach the ground through two rear wheels on a cold track proves too chaotic to manage cleanly off the line. Charger wins, Mustang second, Hellcat third. Then someone makes the call. Take the Charger out of all-wheel drive, race it in rear-wheel drive only. Now the equation shifts. Without the all-wheel drive advantage, the Charger's weight becomes relevant. It's a big, heavy car. In rear-wheel drive mode on a cold track, it fights for traction just like its rivals. The Mustang Dark Horse gets closer. The Hellcat, still spinning but now in its natural habitat of rear-wheel drive chaos, starts to find more grip as the tires warm and begins to fly, climbing through the mirrors of both rivals in the upper gears like something launched from a catapult. The rolling race removes the launch variable entirely and levels the playing field. From a rolling start in all-wheel drive, the Charger demonstrates its advantage is real and not just about launch. It pulls cleanly and consistently. But the Hellcat, once hooked up and moving, is in another dimension of straight-line performance. Given distance, a half mile, a mile, the 797 horsepower supercharged monster would simply disappear into the horizon, leaving both rivals to argue over second place. The conclusion is nuanced and brilliant. In real world, traffic light conditions on cold roads, the Charger's all-wheel drive wins. In a more controlled environment, with heat in the tires and distance to play with, the Hellcat's supercharged insanity takes over completely. And through it all, the Dark Horse sits in the middle, honest, composed, and genuinely competitive against cars with significantly more power. A 500 horsepower naturally aspirated V8 holding its own against 797 supercharged horses and an all-wheel drive system. That is not a failure. That is a triumph. Let's break it down. The pros and cons for each car. Dodge Charger 6-pack. Pros. The all-wheel drive system is transformative. In real-world conditions, cold roads, unprepped surfaces, everyday traffic, it is simply the quickest car here off the line. The new interior represents a massive quality upgrade. And for buyers who want a practical, daily usable muscle car with genuine performance credentials, it ticks boxes that its rivals cannot. Dodge Charger 6-pack. Cons. It's controversial. Not everyone has accepted the new direction. In rear-wheel drive mode, the weight tells against it. And for purists, the addition of all-wheel drive to a muscle car feels like it removes some of the character that made these cars special. It's also been described as a flawed vehicle overall. Quick in a straight line, but not without its weaknesses. Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Pros. That naturally aspirated V8 is a jewel, sonically, mechanically, and emotionally. It's the most honest car here. Lightweight relative to its rivals, well-balanced, and genuinely exciting to drive. In a world of increasingly artificial performance, the Dark Horse feels real and connected in a way that's becoming rare. Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Cons. 500 horsepower is 297 less than the Hellcat Redeye. In ideal conditions, the power gap tells. Against an all-wheel drive car with traction advantages, it fights an uphill battle at launch. Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye. Pros. 797 supercharged horsepower through a naturally aspirated feeling supercharged V8 is an experience that simply cannot be replicated by any other car in this price bracket. Once it hooks up, it is light years ahead. The soundtrack alone, that supercharger whine layered over the V8 thunder, is worth the price of admission, and it can still be found at comparable or lower prices than the newer rivals. Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye. Cons. Rear-wheel drive only means traction is a constant conversation. On cold, unprepped surfaces, it is its own worst enemy. It's heavy, it's old by modern standards, and the interior, while characterful, cannot compete with the new Charger's upgraded cabin. So, who are these cars really for? The Dodge Charger 6-pack is for the modern muscle car buyer. Someone who wants serious straight-line performance without the drama of managing traction in everyday conditions. It's practical, it's capable, and it's fast in the real world in a way that matters when the roads are cold and imperfect, which in Canada is most of the time. The Ford Mustang Dark Horse is for the driver who values feel over figures. Someone who wants to be connected to every rev, every gear change, every moment of the drive. It's for the enthusiast who understands that 500 horsepower in a well-sorted, naturally aspirated package can be more satisfying than 800 in a car that's constantly trying to kill you. The Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye is for the person who already knows exactly who they are and makes absolutely no apology for it. They want supercharged noise, theater, drama, and the genuine feeling that they are piloting something that demands respect. This is a car for people who find modern sensibility boring, and who are absolutely right to feel that way. 3 American icons. 3 different answers to the same question. What should a muscle car be in the modern world? The Charger says, efficient, capable, and ready for the real world. The Mustang says, honest, pure, and emotionally connected. The Hellcat says, louder, faster, more, and if you can't handle it, that's your problem. And somehow, All three of them are correct. What today proved is that American muscle is not dead. It has not been softened out of existence by emissions regulations and electric drivetrains. It has evolved in different directions for different people, but the spirit remains, the noise remains, the theater remains, and the feeling that you're in something genuinely, unapologetically extraordinary remains. That will never get old. Drop a comment below. Charger, Mustang, or Hellcat? Which one would you take home? No wrong answers. Loud opinions only. If this fired you up, hit that subscribe button and join the Luxury and Scale family. Every week, we bring you the machines that matter, the fastest, the most powerful, the most extraordinary cars on the planet, told the way they deserve to be told. We'll see you in the next one.